Hey, welcome to today's Clarity Chat. Thank you for joining us on this long journey. Management wise, IT is the most complex function. Four reasons why. Technology spans across all functions of the company and changes rapidly. IT management is the youngest and nascent to discipline. Technology talent largely resides with the partner organizations and the Hotel California syndrome that you can enter any technology, but you can't leave easily. These factors make decision making as well as execution a complex affair, especially with the shrill marketing pitches and the complex product system integrator dynamics. In Clarity Chat, CIOs and business leaders share their life experiences through live interactive interviews with audience involvement. We are grateful to these leaders who have enriched our perspectives through their unique insights on technology and leadership. We have hosted freewheeling Ask Me Anything sessions, exploring focused yet diverse themes relevant to achieving business success with technology. Well, Clarity Chat is powered by technology and is global for I and my guests who attend it from diverse places. Our audience too attends it from across the globe. Clarity Chat is all about you, our audience. We work hard to enrich your 1 hour with technology, leadership, and insights. We keep coming back to you to guide this journey. We calibrate and we have evolved these sessions in every aspect with your inputs. Throughout our journey, we have celebrated milestones with the special guest sessions, panel discussions, and thematic explorations. Thank you being part of our incredible long journey. Welcome to today's Clarity Chat.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 142nd edition of Clarity Chat. Today we have with us Naveen Samala, founder and chief host of world's only hexalingual podcast, The Guiding Voice. Hey, welcome Naveen to the show.
Hi, Jagdish. Thank you so much for having me here. And how are you doing today?
Hey, very good, Naveen. So nice to have you here. I have something to say about Naveen that in a world obsessed with overnight success, driven by virality hacks, Naveen's journey quietly breaks that myth in being consistent and purpose driven in running a marathon. That's what brings us together in this episode. Let me introduce Naveen. Naveen runs a podcast, Guiding Voice. So here's a quick story, why we are here. So I was discussing with Vinay about our next Clarity Chat, the November one, and I said, you know what? I think we have done about 140 odd episodes, and we've been running it for 4.5 years. So why not we just open source our journey that anybody who wants to co-create and who wants to do something similar, they can simply learn from it as to how to sustain and scale. And that's when you can say as the lamp saw the sun. And I remembered Naveen who runs the Guiding Voice. So we'll come to that a bit. It's a very powerful story. So let me introduce him. Rising from a humble background in Jangam town in Telangana, he became a first generation graduate from both sides, first generation graduate as well as postgraduate. He started his journey with teaching at an engineering college while working for a tech startup, and then he joined GE. He became a master black belt in Lean and Six Sigma and moved into operational excellence. He stumbled into Toastmasters, went on to become a TEDx speaker and a guest faculty of BITS Pilani. So today, as a global lean leader and business transformation strategist, he engages in boardrooms and influences enterprise decisions, but his biggest legacy is building The Guiding Voice, a podcast that has become a global phenomenon. So let's quickly introduce his podcast through a short video about The Guiding Voice. Let me bring it up.
GB and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording, and we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak. And here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future, and we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Awesome. And while the video said it's quadrilingual, now it's already become hexalingual. So he has added 2 more languages. But that's amazing. 1,000 plus podcasts, guests from 85 plus countries, audience across 135 plus countries, 6 languages, and a mind-boggling 23 podcasts a month, whereas we do like 1 Clarity Chat a month. Okay, and that's why now you understand when I said, a lamp looking at the sun. So listening to his journey actually broke my sense of satisfaction at doing it for 4.5 years and 140 episodes. So instead of doing a solo AMA of the Clarity Chat journey and learnings, I decided to co-create this session with Naveen, who has been running Guiding Voice for 5 years. So together we are open sourcing our journey and our process for anyone who's starting now and who's looking for a marathon of co-creating and passing on the knowledge and wisdom. Well, if you are there and if you know someone, do invite them over and bring your curiosity to the session for learning and probing content creation, technology, teams, and how to sustain any initiative with the fuel of purpose. So we'll uncover Naveen's journey and learn how a strong purpose scales small beginnings through standardization, process, and technology. And we'll explore how to build a connected technology-enabled team to sustain its growth. And when I asked him his philosophy on what keeps him going, he had a very simple answer. True dreams never let you sleep. And that's what keeps him going and doing 23 podcasts a month. Well, we'll end the chat with a rapid fire round to bring out the personal side of Naveen and then a reverse question to me. So let's start. Naveen, before we start talking of serious things like, how to keep something running for 5 years and all that, let's get some energy going. So please share any humorous, professional or personal incident that has happened with you in your guiding voice journey.
Maybe I'll talk about the personal incident not related to the guiding voice journey, but in general, like way back in 2012, I was at Secunderabad railway station and waiting for a friend to arrive from my hometown. And suddenly I started noticing people coming to me, showing tickets and putting their train tickets on hand. And later I realized that I was standing at the entrance and people thought I am the ticket collector, the TTE, assuming the assumption was just because I was wearing black trousers and a white shirt. And that incident I'll never ever forget. Talking about yeah, talking about the professional journey again, I have one interesting incident that happened during my GE days, way back in 2006. You must be knowing Bharat Kalyan Ram. He was the CIO of GE Consumer Industrial at that point in time, and he visited from Bangalore, and he was doing a floor walk. And I was on a phone with one of my stakeholders, and his name is Andrew Whitaker. And without realizing that people were all around the floor, and I said, "Hey Andy, can you hear me? Hey Andy, can you hear me?" And my voice was loud enough that it actually scared Bharat and everybody. And people started staring at me. And suddenly Bharat realized, oh, I think I shouldn't be here, and he left the floor. So that is another funny incident which happened. And that happened because my headset was not working. I was too loud and I disrupted the entire flow.
So now I can understand this though, that the audio problem is a genetic one, Naveen. Even today, when we connected before the session, Naveen's audio has been giving some problems, and like we're panicking a bit about it, but we know what to do in case it happens again. Well, those kind of hacks come to you when you have faced enough problems over the years. Okay. So let's quickly acknowledge our audience. Many of them are quite here. Nitin has already sent his hello. Hey, hello, Nitin. So Clarity Chat has a power-packed audience of CXOs, founders, IT leaders, and technology champions. We all know technology alone doesn't move the needle. It's a wisdom behind it that turns code into results. And Clarity Chat brings the masters who have cracked the code of building bridges from ideas and technology to real business impact. We stir some clarity into the chaos. So if you're looking to turn technology into real outcomes, so you are at the right place. And today we are delving into the real success enabled by technology. Well, it's not an enterprise, but it's a very, very noble cause where the scaling up is happening with technology. But it's not only technology; it's also purpose, process, and team. And Naveen will take us through this entire how to build that ecosystem. He's almost built an enterprise, with technology in the center. So thank you all for joining us for the last 141 episodes and encouraging us with your interactions and questions. Well, before we go forward, we feel a little bit lonely here, just the three of us, me, Naveen, and Nitin. So guys, whoever had joined us, please make your presence felt by putting your name and where you're joining from in the comment box, and we sort of get it in the studio, and then suddenly we feel less lonely. Okay. So thank you all for attending. Let's get on our curiosity with Naveen. But before that, hey Nitin, thanks for making your presence felt. The first one in the room. Thank you. Naveen, Nitin sends you hello too.
Hi Nitin, great to have you.
So let's begin the session. So Naveen, you come from a humble village background, and you're the first generation graduate in your family. from both sides. Now, looking back, it's a amazingly inspiring journey you've had. So let me begin this session by asking you to touch upon the struggles and how you overcame those to reach a position where you could think of even like getting out of your day-to-day rigmarole and think of giving back with TG. Go ahead.
So, if I were to talk about my background, both my parents are almost illiterate, and my dad used to do a business. And unfortunately, he passed away during my engineering second year. And we have seen a lot of hardships because coming from a business background, my father did not have proper life insurance or anything, and we did not have any savings. And my mother has really worked hard to make sure that me and my three elder siblings get right education. And that day I've decided like you have to grow big in your life so that the next few generations should not never ever suffer. And I decided myself saying that I have to be role model across paternal and maternal side, be the best in everything that I do. And I did my two post graduations degrees so far, and I'm also planning to enroll into my PhD so that I can become the first generation PhD scholar as well. And likewise, it all started. And after graduating, I have no other option but to join in an engineering college, okay, which was run by my school principal as a faculty member, and while parallelly working for a small tech startup. Within that engineering college, I quickly grew up to the rank of head of the department, because in those days, people whoever has engineering degree itself was sufficient to run the program, and it was not as intense as what it is today. And luckily, it gave me an opportunity to learn so many new things and hone. Because when you are teaching to someone, you prepare a lot so that you don't want to fumble in front of the students and all. And that kept my learning going on. And after that, I enrolled into Java program in Hyderabad. Way back in 2006, I shifted to Hyderabad, and I used to attend classes from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. And after that, take a train to Jangaon, which is about 80 kilometers away from Hyderabad, and go to my college, deliver classes, come back to Hyderabad, practice all the Java programs that I have learned in the morning. And I used to burn midnight oil till 12 p.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m., and after that again go to sleep. And that particular cycle repeated for about 6 months. But miracle has happened. Because of all the hard work, I was able to get a job, not just one job, but I had two offers within 4 months, one with General Electric and one with Accenture. And I joined General Electric. And after that, there is no looking back in my career. I quickly rose up in the corporate ladder up to program manager, and I took up different roles in the diverse domains. Started as a programmer, and then senior programmer, systems analyst, project manager, and then enterprise PMO, program manager. And in between, I did my green belt and black belt certification from GE. And that day, I decided like I should be also pursuing my master black belt, which is the highest certification in Lean Six Sigma. However, I have quit GE in 2017 because I felt I was getting too much into comfort zone, and I don't like to do same thing again and again. So that made me quit GE. And after that, I joined small organizations like CDK Global, ADP, and currently with a connected commerce company for last 5 years. However, I kept on learning, and I kept on dreaming, and most importantly, my dreams have become bigger. And as and when I started chasing them, new dream got implanted, and that's how I kept going. And my mission has also become stronger in terms of helping people like me, and people maybe with almost very low financial background than me, and people from say tier 3, tier 4 colleges, and people from rural engineering college. I thought I should do something for them so that they should not suffer the way I have suffered, because I have figured out everything by myself. I thought, okay, I need to build a platform wherein it should serve as an encyclopedia for them in terms of learning things as quickly as possible, so that they don't have to go through all the hardship that I have gone through. That is how I evolved as a leader, and started sharing my wisdom, and not only my wisdom, but sharing wisdom of various guests likewise. In this entire journey, apart from my day job, I've always done something or the other extra. Within the organization also, I contributed to employee engagement initiatives. And apart from that, I started working as a guest faculty for BITS Planning for last 10 years, and I teach technology and management subjects to MTech students during my free time. And I also enrolled as a corporate mentor for a couple of B schools. Likewise, I kept on keeping myself busy and most importantly, connecting with the next generation so that we can groom future leaders of the world.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, that's a very, I would say, good and start to the conversation. I mean, just to recap, first generation graduate, dad used to do business, who passed away in second year. Mom brought up four kids, and sort of put a fire in your stomach that I don't want my next generations to go through what I went through, right?
Exactly.
And also give him the fire to be the best in whatever he does, and that's kind of driving him to pursue his PhD next. Yeah, but I think doing two jobs, doing two jobs, like traveling every day 90 kilometers up and down from Jangam to Hyderabad, and doing a day job at the college, and then like training for coding, in Hyderabad. And I mean. There was one more story that came up like that, somebody working in Nasik and then coming over the weekends doing a B shift in Nasik, coming to Mumbai for his MBA classes and going back. And it was, I think, very similar story, but very, very inspiring. So, yeah, along the way, kept doing a lot of things: guest faculty, podcaster, corporate mentor, employee engagement, left G, joined smaller organizations. But I think his learning, dreaming, and mission and purpose has become bigger and bigger. And yeah, I mean, I really loved that what you said, that I've figured out everything by myself. Now let me build an encyclopedia to help others who are in my situation where I was like 20 years back, right?
Yeah.
So Naveen, when we were talking, you also mentioned that overnight success is a myth. So tell us what kept you going, to sustain to this level of 1,000+ episodes without really making much money, and tell us a few examples of what shaped your mission to share knowledge at scale, and very, very importantly, beyond money and virality.
Right. So first and foremost thing, when I started my podcast, I used to record the episodes on my wife's phone way back in 2020 during pandemic wave one. And in fact, we used to live in a 2-bedroom apartment, which was kind of 830 square feet apartment at that time. And it was very difficult for me to manage those recordings and all, because parallelly my daughters were studying and my mom stays with me. So you can imagine family of 5 members, and wherein I need to have a conducive environment to record these episodes and all. Right. I found a mechanism in terms of I used to get into my room, lock it so that I requested my wife, kids, and my mom not to disturb me for about 1 hour or 1.5 hours until I finish my recording. That is how it started. And later on, within a year, my wife gifted me Samsung Q2U microphone so that I can record quality episodes and all on my birthday. So for my 2021 birthday, with August 4th, and slowly, initially I used to just record only audio platforms on Zencaster. Within about years time, I was able to hit the 100th episode. And
Wow.
because of my connections with MBA colleges and all, I happened to visit IFIMP school, which is now rechristened as Jagdish School of Management. And they invited me for a dinner way back in 2018 time frame, where Professor Jagdish Sheth's book was launched. And then I made an introduction to himself, saying that I work for so-and-so organization and I'm now enrolled as a mentor. And when I was thinking about 100th episode, I reminded this incident and I thought, why don't we have Professor Jagdish Sheth on the show? Then I reached out to him on LinkedIn saying that, sir, we met during IFIM B School event, and I started my podcasting journey last year. And I thought it would be an amazing thing to have you join as a guest on my show. Likewise, I kept on reaching different milestones and all. Once after the first year is complete, I saw some influx of huge number of subscriptions on my show, like wherein on a single day in YouTube, there was about 300 members that got added. And that surprised me. What happened? And I did not release any special episode as such. Parallelly, I checked my emails and I saw one email from a guy, from a boy from a very small town in northern part of Andhra Pradesh. And he said, I'm looking for some career guidance. And I immediately shared my number. I asked him to call me. And he was fumbling to speak to me, but I told him, don't speak in Telugu. No matter how bad is your English, you start speaking. And he started talking about his career aspirations and all. And honestly, out of 100 words that he has spoke, 90% of them were misaligned. Like it was very hard for me to understand what he's speaking and all. But I told, don't worry, I'm going to transform you. And slowly I started inviting him to my TED Circles sessions, because TED Circles is another initiative which was started by TED during the pandemic. Every month they used to give a theme, and people, whoever is passionate about driving some inner circle meetings kind of thing, they can have a group conversation around that. And I started inviting, and I encouraged him to join those meetings, and he started speaking. And I advised him to read newspaper, and I mentored him in terms of whatever things I used to share with my juniors during my college and all. And he followed everything diligently. And fast forward 2 years, he completed his engineering, and he was able to get a job, get an internship within my friend's organization. And fast forward 2 years, he left to US to pursue his master's, and he has completed his master's successfully. And if we look back, like the day when I spoke to him first time versus where he is today, that gives me immense satisfaction, saying that I'm able to influence a person's career trajectory altogether. And a person who aspired to just get an IT job, right, is now already been to US and completed his masters and now started dreaming big. Likewise, I have so many stories which touched my heart. In some cases, one of the community members sent me an anonymous message saying that I was about to commit a suicide, but there was one episode related to stress management, and that actually changed my life forever. And in fact, that person was also quoting booklet guy Amrut Deshmukh's incident also, because I interviewed Amrut Deshmukh on my show, wherein he shared about his own experience. Like he had a breakup and he had some failed startup, and he thought it is the end of the world, and he was able to commit suicide. And then he remembered a paragraph from Bhagavad Gita, which his brother has quoted. And while he was about to step onto the stool to hang himself, right? And suddenly there was a power cut, and that power cut has changed his life. And he has become a booklet guy, and he's on a mission to make India read. And he has read more than 800 books at that time when I interviewed him, and that is counting. And he has launched an app, and he has also launched an app which will help blind people also read, in the sense listen to the books. So likewise, I have had some heart-touching conversations, and my audience, whoever has listened to these kind of conversations, right, they have become stronger, and they started feeling that no matter how big the problem is, there are many more things in life that we can achieve, right? So these transformations kept me going, irrespective of whether I'm making money or not. And most importantly, I'm also able to interact with people whom I have never ever imagined I would be interacting with them someday. For example, Ruben Gonzalez, who is the four-time Olympian, and Abraham George, who is the founder of Shanti Bhavan. Again, he is another inspiring personality. Actually, his profile was forwarded to me by a PR agency. In fact, I have not approached him. Somebody else approached me to host him. But after doing his episode, I was so moved, and I started researching about him, and I found that there is a Netflix documentary named Daughters of Destiny. Because the kind of work which Mr. Abraham George is doing is amazing. Like he has earned a lot of money while he was in the US, but he started spending on Shanti Bhavan project itself, which is aimed at helping people from slums and all, like children of slum dweller children and all. He's educating them from KG to PG, and fast forward 15 to 20 years, right? He has produced so many engineers, doctors, and many more. So likewise, those kind of stories. And Meera Shenoy, another inspiring personality, who is the founder of Youth for Jobs, who is empowering people with disabilities get some jobs, and she's bridging employability gaps there. And recent interview with Sudhanshu Mani, who is the man behind Vande Bharat. I never imagined that one day I would be interacting with them on
Wow.
one-to-one basis. And so is the case with Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, who is the best-selling author on the Chanakya series and all. Likewise, I have countless examples. Like if you talk about my mindset in a week's time, right? Monday I'll be high, and Tuesday somehow I feel low. Naveen, you're not getting money. Why you're doing this? But Wednesday somehow I get some spark, maybe an invitation to invite some great guest on the show or something. Or again Thursday my energy level goes on. Again fifth day some miracle happens and so on. So far it has been like roller coaster ride. However, there are no regrets, and I'm proud to say that after starting this podcasting journey, first person who transformed is me, because my wisdom has grown. I have interviewed 900 plus guests from 85 countries. And when I say 85 countries, those are not Indians who settled there, but the nationals from those countries, citizens of those countries, right? Likewise, and everybody has something to share. Everybody has some
Absolutely,
inspiring
absolutely.
story and so on. So those are the things which are
Oh,
keeping me going.
yeah, I think this is in the whole, I'm like so happy that in the whole discussion, what never came up was like either money or virality or the audience and like any kind of those, I call them as vanity metrics, right? Yeah, I mean, just to do a recap, I mean, it started with recording podcasts on wife's mobile phone in a small apartment with 5 members, including 2 kids. It's not easy. And then within a year, completed 100 episodes, got a Samsung microphone from his wife, and then celebrated the 100th episode with a podcast with Jagdish Chat. I mean, that was a very, very touching story of like, getting to, I mean, someone approaching you who can't even speak English, and then, and then participating in his journey, where he completes his engineering, gets a job, and then goes to US. I mean, and then you look back at like, when he could not even speak English, and then you realize that, oh my God, this is worth it, right? And I think that's really like, I think we are coming to the core of our conversation, which is, transformations keeping you going, the impact that you create, that gives life, that gives a life of its own to the initiative itself. And then it's no longer in your hands. Initially you were pushing it, and now it will push you. That was a
Exactly.
picture I was getting, and I'm also connecting it with my own journey. It's been the same thing
Mhm.
here also. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I end up spending a good amount of money on this, so why do this? And then I meet somebody somewhere and say, "Oh, you are the Clarity guy, no?" And that was like, okay. And you won't believe, Naveen, what I have seen is, again, that's why I also call them vanity metrics. There are so many people out there who are listening, who are learning, but they are not participating. They're
Exactly.
silent.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're silent on the, there's no likes and comments. But when you meet them and you are like surprised, I haven't interacted with him on LinkedIn, but this guy, he knows which episode we discuss what. And that kind of gives you the confidence that whatever you are doing, somewhere it is creating some that impact, which basically justifies the entire reason why you started. And of course, what you mentioned is speaking to people you wouldn't otherwise speak to. That has also been, I think, in my case, the only thing which is slightly different is that, because of the prep chat that we do, we actually get
Mhm.
to iceberg, the hidden part of the iceberg of people, and that the kind of deep connections it develops because of those
Mhm.
conversations, something amazing. And I think we have seen this in our own prep chat itself. I mean, I didn't know about you, especially about your background and where you come from and where you are. Just increases the respect that we have. Yeah, and good to know you. I mean, I did watch a video of Sudhanshu Mani, which went viral about the journey of Vande Bharat, how everyone initially laughed at him and then he made it happen. And I completely agree with you that, the first person who transformed is Naveen himself. It's the same thing with me, when this has been multiple times asked of me, why do you do this? And I'm like, because I'm the beneficiary. I'm doing it for a selfish reason.
Absolutely.
The
People
way,
laugh at me. Of course, they stopped now. And many of my friends also keep telling me, like, why are you wasting your time? time and energy when you're not getting money. But it gives me immense kick, conversation. And I've done interviews like you'll not believe. I've done 7 to 8 interviews in a day also, like over a
Wow.
weekend. And sometimes interviews happen at 12 a.m. Sometimes interviews happen at 4 a.m. If I like the guest, then I can go to any extent, okay, in terms of compromising on my sleep and all, right? So that
No,
gives that
I
immense
understand.
kick.
See, that's what I told you. Like, once you have that very strong purpose, you then it gets a life of its own. It gets a breath of its own. Then you don't need to really push it. It will pull you. If you are not feeling like it will somewhere, like, say, no, Naveen, you know what, you got to do this. And now let's talk about, like, so I think what keeps you going, what we discussed so far, is like this whole purpose and impact that you're creating, and those
Yeah,
success stories. And now let's come to the second part of, which is like, that alone is not enough, because I think everything requires time and energy. And if you're not efficient with things, if you're not efficient, if you're not standardized, if you're not process driven, you will not be able to really scale it, at least, right? So, Naveen, you run 23 episodes every month, and that too with global guests across different time zones. So walk us through the story of how you built this ecosystem and this massive engine.
yeah,
Go ahead.
sure. So first thing is when I talk about the Guiding Voice English platform, Sudhakar Naganla used to be my erstwhile partner, and unfortunately has to move to a different country, because of which we could not continue our association. And at that time, we thought of releasing only one episode per week, which is solely focused on career development, that too on a Thursday. And after launching about 6 episodes, I got a message on Facebook from Shika Gupta, and now she has become an influencer on LinkedIn with 200,000 plus followers and so on. But extremely passionate HR lady. Like I think she's one of the amazing people to work with and all. She said, Naveen, I'm super passionate about sharing my knowledge, especially for freshers and all, in terms of how to crack off-campus interviews and all. Then I said, yeah, that's fine, Shika, let's do it. And that's how I thought, okay, Sudhakar and I discussed, now that we are only restricting to Thursday, if at all we have to do a special episode, let's do it on Tuesday and focus on something non-tech related on Tuesday. Then that's why I used to name them as special episodes whenever there is an episode on Tuesday, because it is not guaranteed that every Tuesday you will get an episode. Because from day one, I want to be consistent. If I'm announcing to the world, I have to continue, right? And over a period of time, those special episodes have become regular, and we removed that special tag. So every week we started doing Tuesday and Thursday. And off late, certain guests have come and they said, we want to do a series with you, and we did not want to lose the flow. So for those speakers, we created special series like TGV Slice of Hope series with HopeWorks Foundation. Again, thanks to Jacinta Jayachandran. In fact, my friend Kavita has connected me with her. Jacinta is also another amazing lady who is empowering girl students to pursue higher education. She also funds people from lower economical backgrounds and all. And that is one special series which I did, wherein I did about 8 episodes on consecutive Saturdays. And similarly, Corporate Diva series, again, that is another wonderful series which was curated, and entire March month I dedicated for 9 women leader talking about this and all. So likewise, content has evolved because there is pull from the speakers. That is the first thing. Second thing is, what actually contributed is, since I have a day job, I always saved for the rainy day. At any point in time, I used to have an inventory of 10 episodes. And Jagdish will not believe, there were situations in the recent past where I had the inventory of 6 months also. And people are ready to wait. I'll tell them, hey, if you get hosted on the show, it will take 6 months for you to get the episode released. Are you okay with it? They said, we are okay, but we want to be on the show. Right? So likewise, that saving for the rainy day helped me. And while I was producing content in English, few of my friends encouraged me. Okay, boss, whoever speaks English from India and abroad, you are serving to that community. But what about Telugu, the place where you come from? Why don't you produce content in Telugu? Then the idea of TGV Telugu came. And after running Telugu for a few months, again, few friends told me, what about our national language? Then I said, yeah, let me launch TGV Hindi. And honestly, my Hindi is still broken, but it has improved a lot. Like ever since I started my Hindi podcast channel, because I wanted to challenge myself. And I wanted to demonstrate continuous improvement in everything that I do. Because if you look at Naveen's performance in 100th episode versus 200th episode versus 650th episode versus 675th episode, you'll see at least 0.01% increment in terms of the polished conversation or the way I ask questions, the way I modulate voice, so on and so forth. So Telugu is done, Hindi is done, and then one fine day I was talking to a few of my friends like Sangeeta and Basha, and they were my GE friends, and they said, "Let's launch TGV Kannada." I said, "Guys, I know editing, okay, because I used to do everything by myself until last year. I slowly started outsourcing content because it is quite intensive in terms of finances, especially when you are not getting any money in return." Then what I did is I spoke to Sangeeta and Basha, and I told them if Naveen is announcing something, Naveen's brand should not be tarnished in any way. So until you record 4 episodes, I'm not going to announce to the world. Likewise, same strategy I follow in other languages also. Until I have 5 to 6 episodes ready in the kitty, I don't announce it saying that some so and so language is coming soon and all. Because I am known for consistency. And that consistency has yielded so many positive results, so many opportunities also. And I don't want to take chance. Okay, editing part, since I don't know Kannada, how do I take care? Sangeeta said, my daughter is willing to help. All you need is you have to coach her. Then I got into a Zoom and I trained her how to use iMovie editor, how to use Audacity, how to use other editing tools and all. And slowly she got comfortable and we released Kannada. And later on, one fine day, I was interviewing Snehal Singh on TGB, and she is from Pune. And during informal conversation, Naveen, so far you have 4 languages. What is next? I said, I want to have my podcast in at least 10 more Indian languages. Do you want to start Marathi? I said, yes, absolutely. But who would support me? She said, I will be the host. But who will be the editor? She said, I will get the editor. And we slowly started paying some small amount to the editor as well as Snehal. Of course, Snehal did not ask me for money, but I wanted to compensate for her time because she's usually very, very busy. That is how Marathi started. And off late, again, Nisha Kanwan is another friend whom I met through LinkedIn. So Naukri Fast Forward platform where she was my mentee and I groomed her on interview skills and all. Ever since she has been in touch with me for last 9 years. And during one of our conversations, she said, my sister is a RJ and she knows Gujarati well. Why don't you start TGV Gujarati? And that is how our 6th baby Gujarati is born. And now as we speak, recently I hosted a lady named Mahua Gurti. She is a Bengali, but I interviewed her in our Telugu show. And again, same conversation repeated, what is your vision? I said, I want TGV to be in 10 languages, at least Indian languages. Okay, I want to support you on TGV Bangla. I'm good at Bengali. I told, please find editor, and I'm going to pay with nominal honorarium kind of thing. But let's get started. My condition is until and unless you produce 4 or 5 episodes, I'm not going to announce it to the world. Likewise, it all started and it evolved. Overall, my project management skills have come handy, and most importantly, my dedication and commitment. Because in the last 5.5 years, I've foregone so many family functions, so many parties. I've sacrificed on so many things. Just because my show has to run, just because my show has to be known for consistency in terms of adding value so that people can become better, both personally and professionally. So that particular fire has ignited. And one other strong purpose, what I figured out is, if you look at India, India has so many dialects. And if you talk, every state is a country in its own, right? In terms of languages, dialects, and all other field. What I felt is we are inclined towards English as a language. And I've seen many young parents scolding their children if they're speaking in their native language or the vernacular language. Hey, why are you speaking in Telugu? Why are you speaking in you should always speak only in English. I'm not a big fan of that kind of culture because I visited Europe. And one thing what I like most about Europeans is, apart from professional purposes, they speak in their native language and they give utmost respect to the native language. When they are doing, why not we? And I want to bring that particular change through guiding voice so that we produce our content in local languages. And at the same time, here I'm trying to bring the stories of unsung heroes across India, across every nook and corner of the world, right? So on and so forth. So likewise, it started. Yeah.
So Naveen, let me intervene. I think this sets up very clearly. I think one thing that I got from our conversation so far on this question of scaling up is you scale with demand, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you started with one podcast, and then, like, something came up, and you make it a special one, and then it kept coming, and then it became Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then there was a demand for series, there was a demand for, like, multilingual, and that's how it has kept on building up. But I think that demand alone is not sufficient. It is also backed up by building that framework and that ecosystem. Whether it's editors or hosts and all of that. But scaling up, what I really liked is that you have kept the brand on the top, right? I
Yeah.
mean, which is that
Absolutely.
the guiding voice brand, the Naveen Samla brand, has to be around consistency, right, around quality, and therefore, like, some of the process that you follow behind it, like, for example, keeping an inventory, right? That is to
Yeah.
make sure that you never miss an episode, right? You never miss a schedule, right? The tech stack and how you run this whole production line, how your
Mhm.
lean mindset helps here. What are and how do you overcome some of these global coordination challenges?
Absolutely. I think you have used the right word, like in terms of lean mindset. Since I'm a master black belt in Lean Six Sigma, I try to be efficient and effective in everything that I do. And I'm a process oriented person. And in fact, all my guests also appreciate the same thing. Oh my God, this is such a seamless podcast experience that I've been into. So, first, talking about the tech stack, I started modestly with Zencaster. And Zencaster is something which offered prepaid credits kind of thing, like wherein if you want to buy 50 hours of recording content, right? I mean, recording hours, you can do that. And if it can be used anytime in life. It is not that, okay, if you're not using this month, it will not roll over, right? So that is the place where we started. And after that, when there was demand for video and all, I experimented Zoom, again, free Zoom, 40-minute limit. And for a period of time, again, I used that free Zoom for about 1 year. And when I started getting some quality guests and all, I felt very bad because once the 40-minute limit is over, guest has to rejoin. Then I said, no, it is not going to work this way. Then I moved to Skype. And Skype did not have those kind of limits. Off late, Microsoft stopped supporting Skype. Then again, luckily, I have used Zoom paid account by myself, and I felt it is a little expensive. And later on, a few of my community members have volunteered to lend their Zoom. Okay, I have to be
Oh,
very
wow.
honest here. Yeah, they have lent their Zoom, and I manage that. And over a period of time, I tried everything, and finally, I thought if we do the same thing and we cannot expect the different results, because doing same thing and expecting different results is insanity. Then I thought, no, even if it is stretching, that's fine, let me invest on platforms. Then I purchased a Riverside license, and Riverside is working amazing. It gives you studio quality output and all, so that is more on the recording part. And I use Google Docs. For example, all the scripts that we prepare, right, I send the collaboration request to the guest. And most of the guests look at the interview script. Sometimes some of the guests don't want to look at the interview script, and especially if it is a three-way conversation wherein, for example, Telugu, I have Jagan Manta as the co-host. Jagan and I host a common guest, let's assume. We keep the document open live so that while we are asking questions, sometimes guests will respond to a single question, and wherein he covers both the responses. In that case, we need not ask that particular question. That will be removed real time, right? And sometimes guests will also be live on the document, right? And we will use Google Calendar for scheduling. And apart from that, for the editing, now that it is all outsourced, Adobe Premiere Pro is something what my editors use, but I use iMovie for editing after my brother has gifted me MacBook. And apart from that, I use Audacity for audio editing in case of any special thing is required. And Canva is used for thumbnails and all the graphic creation and the festival greetings and all other stuff. So the technology is playing a critical role here, and backed with a strong process. When I say strong process, for example, I maintain one Excel sheet which will have the list of episodes whichever I have recorded. And the model which I have started when it comes to outsourcing the video editing stuff and all is, as and when the recording is over, I enter the guest name and language and to which editor I'm assigning it. And immediately I shared the interview script along with the recording link to the editor through email and through WhatsApp. And once the editor sends it back, again the same Excel sheet is updated if there is some rework or no, and then the payment is also done instantly as and when the work is delivered. And that way, even editors are also quite happy to work with me. And in fact, there was one situation where I thought of stopping providing work to one of the editors, and he was not quite happy. He was not quite happy with the decision, and he sent me a lengthy email saying that, Naveen, I'm a big fan of your work, and first of all, every time I edit the conversation, it is helping me learn a lot of things. And even if you don't pay me, that's fine. Please, I want to work with you. That moved me. And however, I did not stop making payment, but I've reduced the amount. Likewise, I have a strong team of editors across India. And initially, when I started outsourcing, I put a single WhatsApp status on my message. And to my surprise, I got more than 100 applications. And out of which I gave sample work to many people. And I've been selective in terms of identifying who can do what and all. And likewise, it all evolved. And last 1.5 years has been amazing in terms of the quality shift that has happened in the podcast. And of late, I also started experimenting with in-person recording and all. So process is something which I built, and the same process is replicated for the other languages also. For example, Kannada, I don't intervene at all. Now it is almost like autopilot mode. Sangeeta is the producer for that, wherein she manages the team. Pratibha is our main host on Kannada. Pratibha, Bhasha, and Sangeeta, among three of them, it is their responsibility to find the guests, prepare the interview script, share with them, and then record it on the Riverside, and then assign it to Sachi, who is Sangeeta's daughter, and Sachi will schedule it. Since I've trained.
So Naveen, just to be conscious of time, my God, I mean, 50 minutes passed, and it seems like we've been discussing for 15 minutes. I
I
think
think
that's
I
a
can. I think I can talk continuously on podcast maybe for about a
no.
few
I
days.
know. I think you know what that really happens when there's a lot of substance and everything has a lot of value. Time sort of stops. So just a few takeaways here, and like I'm paraphrasing them in my own manner. So we talked about
Yeah.
brand and promise. We talked about scale with demand, continuous improvement, project management skills. I must also add to it frugal thinking. 1,000 episodes later, you still are taking your friends' help on Zoom. That really talks a lot about the typical Indian frugal mindset. I loved your comment, doing the same thing will not give different results. So invest in platforms, whether it's Riverside, Google Docs, Calendar. While editing is outsourced, the entire process is run via Excel sheets, collaborative Excel sheets. And I really love that use of technology, which is WhatsApp status for advertising the position of editors and then getting a tremendous response. But I think, I mean, this really jams so well with what we do here, because I think how we have been able to sustain it is also a similar process, where I think the purpose is what keeps you going, and it takes a life of its own. But then it's a technology which keeps us all connected. Like for example, you, me, and Vinay, we all worked on the same document on
Yeah.
SharePoint. Yes, you use Google Docs, we use SharePoint, but then the process is fairly standardized. It can run on autopilot. By the way, 90% of the work is done by Vinay, and the reason is because the whole thing is defined so well in terms of a process and SOPs. So he recently co-opted another team member, Shweta, here. And since things are very well set, I don't need to intervene. So we can, that's how we optimize time, right? And scale
Nice.
up. So Naveen, maybe last question before and maybe I want you to answer this a little fast forward, because
Yeah.
then we have to go on to a very, very important section of rapid fire, and I already see some rapid fire questions starting to appear here. Okay, on the comment section. Uh, so Naveen, you touched upon this topic. Now, my next question is about how do you build a team, right?
Right.
And what keeps the team together? What keeps it lean? You did talk about having a distributed team. The Kannada being managed by a team where you don't even interfere, etc. So just talk a little bit about how you built that team and how you kept them together in a very efficient way.
Yeah. So most of it is kind of a pull that has happened, like wherein people came to me, for example, after running the guiding voice for about 2 years, Sangeeta approached herself saying that, hey, Naveen, I see you have been very consistent. Can I be of some help? Right. Likewise, and Kavita Garla is one of my good friends whom I connected after getting into podcasting world. And irony is I have not interviewed her, though she has given me close to 100 guests so far. I have my own group called TGV Inner Circle, where most of the guests that I have featured, right, they are part of that particular WhatsApp group. And if there is anything that comes to my mind, no matter what point in time of a day, I keep putting there. And most of the requests are handled by the team themselves in terms of, okay, somebody wants to volunteer or somebody knows anybody else and all. Likewise, I sold my vision. Okay, that is the big thing actually. And people know that, okay, this guy is set to do something. He's here to create a legacy. He's here to bring something best out of it. And most importantly, people like me because I give them a lot of opportunities. Like even if it is a speaker, right? For some of my speakers, connected them with amazing individuals who gave them business. So somebody, whether it is an audience or a speaker, they get immense benefit out of the guiding voice in some way or the other. So connecting the vision, and second thing is they know about my financial situation very openly and all, because I'm a kind of single income group person, right? And managing education of both kids and living a decent life and all. I keep telling people I'll not be able to pay you money, but once money comes, I know how to handle it. So I picked up people who are not money minded. Of course, in this journey of identifying editors, I've come across few people who left immediately within a month's time because they're not able to handle it, and they thought, okay, whatever I'm paying is not justifying or compensating their work and all. But what I see in people is commitment. If they are committed, if they have at least 50% of commitment, what I have, right, they are in. And they know, like, if I'm with Naveen, definitely I'll grow and definitely I'll make money in future. So those kind of people I'm surrounded with. I should really thank the universe, because managing such a great platform and building it into a massive one, right? It is not done just by me. There are so many unsung heroes working behind the scenes also without expecting money. Like, for example, Sucha and Payal, who are my co-hosts on Hindi, especially Payal has been extremely instrumental in terms of driving and adding some more passion to the podcast. And likewise, these are all people who have bought the purpose, and their purpose has also become bigger, and they also started loving talking to people, and they started seeing, oh my god, my network is also increasing, my I'm becoming a better person, right? So I'm giving everything that they need except for money. Of course, money also I'm giving, but small amount. So they see value in the other things that I'm offering them rather than the monetary thing. So that actually makes me believe that value addition in terms of, say, personal or professional growth is much more than the money part, right? So this is how
Absolutely.
I'm able to build the team.
No, I liked this whole thing about pull based team building, selling the vision, and then basically attracting people, having that whole mindset of giving, not just to people who are trying to come up in life, but even to your guests, right? I think, and then picking up people who are not money minded, who have a commitment to the vision and journey. Yeah, I think the biggest kind of theme that comes out of here is that if you have a again it comes back to purpose, right? So if you have a very
Yeah,
strong purpose, right, you can actually, that's really when, like, the universe conspires to
absolutely.
put all the right people with you to achieve your purpose. But I think that purpose has to be really something that connects with other people as well. If your only purpose is to make money, you probably won't attract that kind of team or talent, right? So thanks, Naveen. I think we are just at the fag end of the hour, so we'll take the liberty of going a few minutes extra, because I don't want to leave out all the rich rapid fire questions that you have, I mean, that we have for you. So, but before I go there, let me just bring up some questions from the audience. So we have Sunaina. So Sunaina is asking, hello, sir. Great. You conduct sessions in 6 languages. Do you know all the 6 languages? If yes, how did you do that? I think you answered it, but you can again make it a
Yeah.
rapid.
I know only 3 languages, Telugu, Hindi, and English, and I drive conversations on all those 3 languages. And Kannada is handled by my friends, Marathi, another friend, and Gujarati, another team member, Chenda Kanwani. So I have a strong team who is taking care of it. And my vision is in future, probably I don't want to I don't want to be on every interview. Probably I'll have to identify a strong person who can do these interviews so that I will be interviewing only special guests so that I can spend my time elsewhere and focus on expanding the platform to multiple languages and all. That would be my focus. But I know only 3 languages.
Yeah, and the Bengali one is coming up. It will become 7 languages soon. Yeah. So Sunaina is again asking another question. What was your inspiration to do the podcast?
Yeah, that's a great question actually. Like I used to visit a lot of I keep visiting now also. I keep visiting a lot of engineering colleges and B schools to deliver keynote messages and career guidance sessions and all. And before pandemic, I might have visited about 30 to 40 engineering colleges by then. And after attending a course on how to do this podcasting masterclass by Vijay Gautam, one of the top Indian podcasters, I enrolled into the full course and I completed in 3 days. And I was on full energy, saying that okay, I found a mechanism wherein I can share the wisdom of not just me but my but the guests also, so that I can reach many more people. That is the inspiration to do the podcast. So that if I release one episode, it can reach any corner of the world as long as you're connected to the internet. So that gave me an idea, saying that in my lifetime I'll not be able to probably visit 500 or 1000 engineering college, but if I do a podcast, I can reach many more people.
Awesome, awesome. And I think there's another question from Vinay who's asking, any experience when you go back to your village and meet your old friends there?
Yeah. So they keep teasing me. They tell like, we don't understand what you are doing actually. I tell them, okay, now that the content is available in Telugu, why don't you hit the link? The bad part is I have 5,500 contacts on my network. To my Telugu videos, okay, out of which let's assume there are 1,000 people in Telugu who speak Telugu, right? I should get minimum 1,000 views for my Telugu content, but I don't get that. The reason is nobody has the interest or patience to go and click the link. So, but they're happy to comment. So I keep telling them, next time you hit the link, go and watch it. You'll understand. I don't want to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, this is funny, and it happens with me with Clarity Chat also. Whatever it is, Masaji uncle, chachu, आप Clarity Chat में करते क्या हो? बेटा कभी आके देखो तो सही. But sometimes you also realize that what I mean. The people who need it are the people who will come there. I mean, the people who don't need it, probably they are where they are just because they don't need it. Either they are like much better off, or they are comfortable with where they are, right? Yeah.
And maybe I want to add one thing. Probably this might be a harsh comment to make, but people will flaunt once you become famous, saying that I know this guy and all. Until you're not famous yet, they don't understand what we are doing, right? It is slowly spreading under the carpet as of now, but one day will come where everybody will know and they'll start tuning in. Because of late, I've seen that kind of thing happening. Yesterday itself, for example, I got 2 calls from my hometown. Somebody is suggesting I listen to this and I want next episode on so and so topic and all. Eventually, it will happen.
Awesome. Yes. That. Okay, so let's now move to a rapid fire. So the first rapid fire would be on similarities and differences between TGV and between TGV and Clarity Chat. TGV is the guiding voice in this rapid fire. So Naveen, start.
Okay. So TGV 23 episodes per month.
Oh, Clarity Chat once a month.
6 languages.
1 language, English.
1,000 plus episodes.
142.
Strong purpose.
Ditto.
Global guests.
Ditto.
Standard technology and enabled process.
Absolutely ditto.
Duration 15 minutes to 75 minutes.
Oh, 60 minutes to 75 minutes. Well, 60 minutes is a misnomer. It's actually 75 to 90 minutes.
Recorded.
We can't stop at 60.
Okay. Recorded. And then Riverside.
StreamYard.
And podcast platforms, social media, audio, video, everywhere.
LinkedIn and YouTube, and now on Facebook.
Google Suite.
Microsoft 365.
And the topics are personality development and career planning.
The art of managing technologies to deliver business results.
Amazing. And here comes the last one.
Primarily CIOs and CXOs, and with you now we are pivoting real results and skill from technology. Okay, so that was a good one, and now let's do a real quick fire. Okay, so Naveen, how many books have you written? When is the next book coming?
Okay, I have written 2 books. The Guiding Voice, Inspiring Lives, Volume 1, where your story is also featured, Jagdish.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, thank you.
And this is Volume 2, where by the time you have finished 500 conversations, and it features about 23 tales from it. And this
Okay.
time, again, it had some inspiring personalities and their own success stories and our conversation nuggets of it. And I thought of I thought of writing and publishing Volume 3, Volume 4, and so on, but I kept it on hold. For last 1 year, I started working on another personal project, and I'm about to release my third book. I'm not going to reveal the topic today, but the topic, the title is something mind blowing, which is attention grabbing and all. And that will be launched in December 2025. And for those of you who are in Delhi, the book will be showcased at World Book Fair in New Delhi in Jan 2026.
Awesome, awesome. So, my God, not even 40, and you're on to your third book. I mean, I'm jealous. Okay, so what's like one if we always talk about this cultural diversity, and also maybe since you said that a lot of your guests have been from US as well. So a curious question: what is the biggest difference between your Indian and American guests?
Preparation, punctuality, and infra setup. So they are 100% ready to get started the moment they join. Whereas in Indian guest case, it is not the case always. Many a times you have to coach them and make those settings and all those stuff. That's the major difference.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so how do you celebrate your milestones? Guests from 85 countries.
Yeah, guests from 85 countries. I did a global speaker festival in Jan 2024, wherein I featured 33 guests from 31 countries and released it from Jan 2024 to Feb in 24 continuously. And that is one of the biggest milestone celebration, I would say.
Okay, so what's a dream milestone you fantasize about?
Getting into a random car of a stranger wherein the Guiding Voice podcast of any language is playing.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm assuming that hasn't happened yet.
Not happened yet.
Well, because you don't get into many cars with strangers, I think that may be the reason. Okay, so what keeps you going?
Most importantly, the impact, the kind of positive stories when I hear saying that, hey, I made a wise decision. I was confused about which career to pick. I was confused about this personal situation. I was confused about investment. Hearing so and so episode transformed me, and I'm now clear. That keeps me going.
Awesome, awesome. So, what's the most meaningful feedback you've ever received?
Yeah, I heard someone saying TGV has life. I heard someone saying TGV has changed my life forever. Right, so that is very big achievement.
Oh my God, that's a very big one actually. I know that's what keeps you going. Okay, one thing Toastmasters help you.
Clarity in communication, most importantly, active listening.
Awesome. Yes. So, TEDx or podcasting?
Actually, I cannot compare them, but I have a different answer here. Like podcasting made me deliver my TEDx, so it's a natural progression that happened.
Yeah, that's right. One leads to the other. Yeah. Okay, a tool you cannot live without in your podcast workflow.
So first and foremost, from the recording perspective, it is Riverside, and for all other needs, it will be Google Docs.
Okay, so Riverside and Google Docs. Okay. One leadership lesson from interviewing Olympians and Padma Bhushan awardees.
Most high achievers are kind of humble, and they have their eyes in the right place, whereas people who are of mediocre achievements, they are not humble.
So as they say, Arjal Gagri Bhav. Yeah. Okay, a mentor whose words you still live by.
My father, I've actively and passively learned a lot from him, and he used to say, hard work is something which will always pay off. Work hard.
Awesome. Any books that change how you think?
There are 3 books, I should say. One is Vijayanki Aidu Metlu by Endamuri Virendranath, and then You Can Win by Shiv Khera, and third one is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one thing, I've already interviewed Mr. Endamuri Virendranath on my show. And I'm in
Awesome.
talks to interview Shiv Keraji, but maybe he's looking for me to get more followers, then he will come on the show.
Interesting. Okay. No, it works both ways. If he comes on your show, you will gain a lot of followers anyway. Tell him that. Okay. Any failure that turned into blessings?
Absolutely. Getting into corporate audit staff full-time position after doing the pilot, I was not selected, but that gave me an option to do the introspection. And ever since, it has opened so many doors of opportunities, be it like joining as a guest faculty at BITS Pilani or getting empaneled as corporate mentor at IFMB school and so on and so forth.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. I think, that's the right way to take the failures, to get inspired by them to do more. Yeah. And in the age of AI, your one line advice for young technologists?
Yeah. Don't lose creativity because that is the biggest gift for humans. So don't use AI for everything. We have to put our creativity to work because nothing can replace human creativity.
Awesome. Absolutely. Absolutely. And a hobby that people don't know about?
I cook some remix dishes with leftover food and leftover curries.
Give us an example.
Like if you have fried rice, like in Telugu, we call it as bagara rice, and then chicken is leftover, let's assume. Or maybe some paneer curry is leftover, right? I prepare a palav out of it the next day.
Okay, okay, yes. Oh, our moms and chachis, and they were like, they were the expert in this. So you picked up something nice from them.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, three things leaders must stop doing to grow.
Yeah, first thing is most importantly micromanagement. Second one is growing more followers than leaders. And third thing, if you're in corporate environment, not letting people move out of their teams because you want them to be with you, right? And you are acting as an hindrance to their growth.
No, absolutely. I so much connect with all three of them. I really like the middle one, the growing followers than leaders. Yeah, you have to grow more leaders than just people who follow your orders, right? Okay, one message for multilingual content creators.
Yeah. One thing is be consistent and focus on the central message. However, tailor it to the language specific audience. For example, our format is almost same. In Telugu, we do it a little different. We ask a riddle, okay, after the rapid fire round, and the answer to the riddle is disclosed at the end. Likewise, cater
Okay.
consistency at the same time, be little different.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so if you could restart TGV today, one thing you would do differently.
If I have time and money, maybe in-person podcasting is something I would love to do, but it is very expensive, both from time-wise and money-wise. You'll not get that scale.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And one sentence that defines Naveen.
A boy from small town creating global impact and creating a legacy.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you're already there, actually.
I'm not yet
That's what
there. I'm
defines you.
still in the making.
Oh, yeah. Long back when we were kids, like, we used to hear this sentence that, journey is the destination, and we never understood it. And
Right.
as
Now,
you embark on, this kind of a journey, whether it is the guiding voice or, Clarity Chat, or even like, some of our corporate stints and all, we realized that, what? I mean, what was the milestone? I think it was the journey itself was the milestone. The journey itself it's a journey where you create memories rather than a particular milestone there, right? Yeah. Okay, so
yeah.
Naveen, I've been asking you all the questions. So one question you can ask me.
Okay. Only one question. Who
I
is dream
one of
guest?
them. I can see a
Yeah,
lot of.
I would like to ask a few. So first one
Sure,
is,
sure, sure.
who would be your dream guest on the Clarity?
On Clarity Chat. Okay, let me see who my dream guest. Well, I have reached out to Mr. N.R. Narayan Murthy, so he would be my dream guest. Haven't got a
Wow.
response yet, so I still have to send him a follow up.
Okay, what message would you put on a giant billboard, maybe at Times Square or anywhere?
Times Square or anywhere. Okay, the serious one nobody would read, right? So I actually read one on a T-shirt which remains with me, and just keeps coming to my mind at random. It's like I think you also mentioned it somewhere. It says nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So you got to keep
That's
doing
a
different things to make
Hmm.
things.
Yeah. And can you describe yourself? Can you describe yourself in just one word?
Explorer.
Wow. Very true. And then your leadership pet peeve.
My leadership pet peeve is always the micromanagement. It's like, I can't stand people who are, sorry, actually, not micromanagement in that sense, but actually people not being civil with our people, with other people.
Mhm.
It's like,
Okay.
when people are like, just bossing around just because of their position,
Right.
they are trying to go
Hmm.
one up on others. That's something which I really hate.
And then first thing you notice when you meet someone.
First thing I notice when I meet someone, well, the moment I meet, I don't really believe in that 5 second rule, the 5 second first impression rule, because, one of the things I tell people to follow and I myself follow is what I call as a delayed judgment. I mean,
Right.
I have been so many times, I have been, proved wrong because of the first 5 second impression, that I become an observer right from the moment I meet somebody, and then I try to make sure that I don't create any first impression. I mean, I don't get um, I mean, I don't get swayed by any first opinions, because my
Mhm.
first opinions have been many times proved wrong.
Got it. And
I'm
here
an
comes the
observer.
last. Yeah, you're an observer. And here comes the last one. The content creator that you admire the most.
I mean, I would say Naveen Samla. That's the only one I know. I know so well now. I don't know anybody else very well. I mean, to be frank, I'll tell you, Naveen. See, and I'll tell you why. Also,
Mhm.
I've come across
Yeah.
many of them, but I think each one of them is, the one that I was told to follow was this guy who has written this, like, how to convert one piece of content into 60 or this thing, right?
Mhm.
Forget his name. Very famous content creator and all. But I think, it's all about like hacks and selling that content creation skills and all of that, right? And I met others also, who are more or less like, what works, right? What will work,
Hmm.
what will make viral, etc., right? A lot of it is, about the means rather than the end, right?
Right.
Of course, you can't completely, get away from that, but then that's not everything. And, since I really kind of resonated with you because of the purpose, that it's a strong purpose that's guiding it, rather than followership, viewership, money, or like, this thing. It's like, it's a very, very genuine, purpose, and very, very genuine intent of creating an impact. And even if it means that you have to invest your own money in it,
Yeah.
seriously.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Means a lot. Means a lot. So I have a bonus rapid fire question. Do you believe in
Whatever.
do you believe in miracles? If so, has any miracle happened in your life? So,
I believe in miracles. I mean, I think, while you talked about your story, I have my own story. I come from a small town, and I think when I look at, like, what have been the pivot points in my journey, coming
Mhm.
from a small town, not really knowing any bigwigs, not really being anybody's, blue-eyed boy, or not having any, godfathers. I mean, I still rose, and that itself is the biggest miracle.
Wow.
But lots of them actually. But I'll tell you the biggest one. Okay, the biggest one is what saved my life actually. So here I was on a Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, and it was the second day
Mhm,
of trek.
mhm, mhm,
And
mhm.
the first few days are really tough. Once you get like conditioned with the first few days, then it becomes a little easier. So it was the second day,
Right.
and I think everybody was in a bad shape, and it was like, an 18 kilometer up and down, pretty bad conditions trek. And I think we were at about something like 15th kilometer, and it was completely, I would say, uh, tired.
Mhm.
So I just called out to my porter out there, and I said, "Look," I think his name was Hira Singh. I said, "Hira Singh," and he basically sat down on a wall. Is that like, that retaining wall, a small one, and he sat down there. I somehow reached there, and I, like, I just sat next to him, and before I settled, I don't know what happened. I just pulled back my rucksack, and I told him, Hira Singh, chalo, thoda aage. Okay.
Mhm,
And we moved away from there. We would have moved something like 20, 30 steps. And then the exact place where we were sitting, the stones started falling down from top. And I still do not know, what happened, why it happened. So I can say it's a miracle. But then there have been many others, like, there's, I only say that, if you follow your heart, right? You will see that those following your heart actually leads to miracles.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we are like, oh my God, we're 23 minutes over,
Oh
Naveen,
my
but I
God.
think it's a very engaging conversation. So let me summarize the entire session, starting from, Naveen's journey, the upbringing. Dad used to be in business, who passed away, no social security, and then uh, very hard life in terms of getting educated, and then immediately afterwards joined a job, did two jobs rather, learning programming and then working in a college, playing 160 kilometers every day. Cracked G and Accenture at the same time after this training. Joined G, spent a long time there, uh, and joined other organizations. And I think and he has kept on learning and dreaming and making himself and building himself for himself a stronger mission. As far as the guiding voice is concerned, he figured it out all by himself, and now he's out there to build an encyclopedia to help others who are in the same situation so that they don't have to go through it. And that's the strong purpose that keeps going despite the hardships and the missed personal, I would say, celebrations and everything else, right?
Yeah.
He's an all-rounder. He's a guest faculty, podcaster, corporate mentor, participates in all kinds of employee engagement. His podcasting journey started with a recording podcast on wife's mobile phone. Got a Samsung microphone, completed 100 episodes within a year, and then shared a inspiring story of bringing up a student who struggled to speak English, who's now got a job fast forward and went to US. And I think it's the transformation stories that have kept him going. And speaking to people who you wouldn't otherwise speak to, he shared multiple stories of like the guests who have shared transformation stories with him. And it's like, this is something which is like exactly where we connect, is that the first person to be transformed with all these, whether it is through Clarity Chat or through the guiding voices, like the host himself, right? And we talked about like, how you build and scale this up. Few elements came up. One was brand and promise. So you have to first keep up the brand promise, which is like, if I'm there, I'm going to be consistent, and therefore, like, always build an inventory of at least 4 episodes before going live, and sometimes even having 10 episodes inventory, and sometimes even 6 months inventory of episodes. He scaled with demand, as people kept coming with like needs. I mean, he just kept servicing them, and then now it is like 23 podcasts a month. Somebody said, why not Hindi? Started Hindi. Why not Kannada? Started Kannada. But what has kept it consistent is that, be consistent. What has kept him on it is basically be consistent, keep up the brand promise, and do everything and launch only when you're ready. Then we talked of the team building, and it's all about like, having such a strong vision that, people align to that vision. The team gets built accordingly, even if you don't, even if you can't pay them well. And then, of course, the whole concept of giving, not only for the audience but also for the guest, for the guests as well, right?
Yeah.
Um, then, yeah, of course, then we talk about continuous improvement, project management skills, a lot of personal sacrifices to sustain the whole thing, frugal thinking, developing a tech stack, invested in platforms like Riverside, Google Docs, uh, outsourcing editing, and then, continuously doing all of these things to make sure that, the initiative scales, sustains and scales. And yeah, we had this funny incident of like, advertising a editor, podcast editor position on WhatsApp status and getting 100 response. And of course, we had a fun, rapid fire session. And this rapid fire thing, we will anyway be converting that into a separate, LinkedIn post as well. So please reach out, watch out for that. Naveen, I think it has been a great, I would say, conversation, knowing you know, the kind of clarity that you bring in terms of, your purpose and how you interconnect the purpose, the technology, the team building, the process that you have set up. And I think I probably once somebody kind of understands the whole architecture you have built, they say, yeah, okay, yeah, with that you can do 23 episodes a month. Most importantly, that kind of a team which connects to your purpose, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, on that note, thank you, our audience, for attending and engaging. We had some rapid fires from you guys also, so we'll be responding to them on LinkedIn. We can't respond from here from the studio, and I know most of our audience watches the whole thing on over the weekend as a recording rather than attending live. That's been our experience so far. So, guys, all of you who are watching the recorded version, thank you also for watching it. And yes, please enjoy your family time over the weekend. And thanks, Naveen, so much for joining me on Clarity Chat today.
Yeah, most welcome, and thanks again for giving this opportunity to share my message and my experience. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Jagdish. Thank you so much.
Absolutely the same here, Naveen. I'm still thinking that, okay, can I go more than once a month now on Clarity Chat? Anyway, we'll think about it. There's a lot more on my plate, so I will not make a promise right now. But thank you, everyone, for attending and engaging. We'll come back again next month in December with our next Clarity Chat 143. And we know by now, I think by then, Naveen would have done another 23 of them. Well, thank you, everyone. Bye bye. And thanks, Naveen, again.
Thank you, Jagdish. Bye bye. So we'll stay